Hey, Mike.
Hey, Bob, how's it going? We've got a pretty cool freaking show headed up. I'm excited. It gets into some of the nitty gritty when it comes to grants, and we'll let them do the talk. But before we get into that, we are starting to run to the end of the year. We don't have too much left as far as conferences, right?
No, but we do have a brand new show that's going to be dropping kind of soon. I don't want to tease it too much, but it's going to be amazing.
I want to tease it because we've both been on it.
Do it.
All right. It's a hazard class. It's a great concept for a show. Basically, we but Jake has some really good questions, and he brings on experts to ask them these really good questions. So really looking forward to it. We've both been on it. It's fun and it's well done, and I think you all are going to love it.
And we're not normally going to be on it, which is even better for your ears. So
yes.
As Mike said, we are only at 2 more conferences before the year kind of wraps up, and that's going to be Hot Zone, which is October 17th. And then we're kind of like celebrity, I don't know, D-rated celebrity.
Z-rated celebrities.
We're going to be judges at the CBRNE Convergence, which is in Orlando on October 28th to the 30th. So that's going to be some pretty cool stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to be partnering with Argonne. Their electronics. They're going to be running through some scenarios, and we're going to see. We get to Monday morning quarterback, which is one of our favorite things to do.
All right, enough of this belligerent. Let's bring in our 2 guests and let's have a little chat. Oh, welcome back, everybody. And we are here joined by 2 lovely people from PHMSA. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
I always wondered what the PH, should we pronounce that an F?
Is that
should it be PHMSA?
Yep, that's a great question. It's pronounced PHMSA, but we often get confused with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
That makes sense.
We are the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. So
I love it. Well, we got 2 of you guys on, so we'll start with Bill. Bill, can you give us a little background on who you are and what you do?
Sure. Thanks for having us first. I'm excited to be here. I'm Bill Schooner. I'm the Associate Administrator for Hazardous Materials Safety with the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. We're just a small agency within the Department of Transportation. We're actually the second smallest agency. The only one smaller than us is the St. Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation. But we're an agency that likes to punch above our weight. We're responsible for 1.2 million shipments of hazardous materials that move out of and through the U.S. every single day. And we have another side of the house that is responsible for about 3.5 million miles of pipeline throughout the country. So between the 2 of us, we handle about 2/3 of the nation's energy, making sure that gets to everybody. So,
and then we have the lovely Carla. How are you?
I'm doing well.
What
Thank
do you
for having us.
Oh, our pleasure. Give us a little skinny on what you do with PHMSA.
All right. So I work in the Office of Hazmat Safety, which Bill oversees, and I am in the Hazmat Grants Program as the chief. So what I do is oversee, as a grants manager, the 6 grants that we have, making sure that we fund nonprofits and states, tribes, and territories to be able to conduct hazmat training and planning activities so that they can ensure that they respond safely, appropriately, and also educating their community on how to respond or what they should do in an incidents or accidents that involves hazmat.
I love it. So, all right. So here's the reason why we sought out you 2, or at least the organization. It wasn't directly for you guys, but anyway, we recently did this mega train derailment drill down in Alabama, and it went off smashingly. We did all types of stuff, and it was a great thing for that locality, all those departments, the police department, everybody working together and doing a whole thing. And it was And when it comes down to it, is like, wow, that's an amazing service that, we did for them, but it costs money. And so people go, well, how do you bring that service into a location and connect it with money? And that's where the light bulb went on. We're like, we got to talk to the PHMSA people because they do this. Like, that's probably the biggest question on the market is like, I want the training. How do I get the money to do a training? And those 6 different grants you guys are talking about, I'd like to expand on that a little bit. If you guys could talk a little bit more about that.
Sure. Let me just start by, Carla explained what she did, but really she's really undersells herself because, I get the joy of leading the organization, but really, in our organization, we have our charter has 2 different requirements. One is to make sure that hazmat moves safely throughout the country. The other charter that we have requirement is to make sure that when incidents do occur, that communities and responders are prepared to respond. And Carla really is the person responsible for that other side of the charter. So, she's when you do your training and you look at that and think about the training that goes around the country, she gives out a lot of money every year to make sure that communities and responders are trained. She's in the 4 years, the last report to Congress that we did from 19 to 22, Carla was the money she gave out was trained almost, I think it was somewhere around 250,000 firefighters and responders. So
wow.
So and that's just the training that goes to responders. In addition, there's about 600 different drills that get done. All these drills by LEPCs and communities, and so Carla's responsible for that. So I really want to turn it over to her and let her answer it. But I wanted to really give Carla a plug for all the work she does.
Thank you.
Making sure that money gets out there is critical. So
thank you, Bill. And I see it as we're just doing my part for the communities out there, ensuring that their responders are, trained up to be able to respond appropriately, and also to the communities, like you said, the exercise you just did in Alabama. That is the type of exercise that is funded through our Hazardous Materials Emergency Preparedness Grant, which is our HMEP grant. The funding for that annually is up to $21,988,000. So that money goes out to states, tribes, and territories. And in 2016, we kind of shifted how we do our HMEP grant by changing our states to a 3-year funding period. So what we do is they start in October. The current grant year started October 1 of 2022, and it ends on September 30th, 2025. So they have 3 years to perform activities or sub grant out to the localities, which a lot of them do, so that the different localities can do their training and also update their plans, do commodity flow studies to kind of help them prepare in the event of, a hazmat accident or incident in transportation. The money for the states and territories that are 3-year are released annually because of where funding comes from. So the funding that funds this grant program comes from hazmat registration fees, which we collect annually. So since we collect it annually, we can only release the funding year by year. However, it's like a continuation. It's just adding on to the award from year 1 for them to plan and do. And for the states, we opted to do the formula allocation. That way, everybody gets some funding to do and conduct these activities. And with our territories, they just get a set amount each year, and they conduct their activities as well. So as Bill said, we've done about a $250,000 of training responders that have been trained. So, we're really dedicated to ensuring that money get used, the money goes to the right people, and that, everybody gets informed. And that's our largest grant. So I wanted to start off with that. That's the largest pot of money.
What are the, if you don't mind me asking, what are the requirements that a training has to be to land under? And I ask that because quite oftentimes we're developing a scenario or a situation with somebody, and one of the first things they go is, this is a DOT grant. It has to be a DOT training. So is that a legitimate statement, or does this cover all realms of hazmat training, whether it's transportation related or not?
That is a true statement.
Okay.
Partially. Bill, you want to expand?
Yeah, I think I can just step back for a second and put it into context as about how our funds work with other grant agencies. So we're part of, I liken it, I call it a triumvirate of grant opportunities, because we work very closely with FEMA and their grants, the SAFER grants, the assistance to firefighter grants, and they focus on getting fire departments the money they need to do their grants. We also work with EPA under the EPCR program. So EPA does all the EPCR work, which they don't really have a grant program, but we use them to help us on the EPCR side. And then what we're funding is the transportation side of EPCR, or Community Right to Know. And so generally our grants have to have a transportation bent. In other words, you want to have something about transportation in it, but Carla's team is very fluid on it. And, it can be everything from a large scale derailment like the drill you did in Alabama, all the way to lithium battery fire that is something going into transportation. May not be in transportation yet, maybe in a fixed facility waiting to go in. But, you could still consider that type of thing. So we try to be as flexible as we can within what the laws require. So.
All right. So let's say I'm an LEPC, or I'm a fire department, and I want my guys to get some hazmat training. Can you walk me through the process of what I would have to do to apply and get the training?
Absolutely. Go ahead. I'm
Carla.
sorry.
No, go ahead. You're the expert on this.
All right. So for HMEP, how we distribute the funds are by designated agencies that were designated by the governor. I will take example Alabama, since you just did that activity. So Alabama designated agency is their emergency management. So they apply for the HMEP grant initially through grants.gov. They submit that application. We post a no-show, so they apply according to the outlines of the no-show. And they submit that, and then we come back and we review the applications to make sure all activities are, fitting under this program. The one unique thing that we can do, because HMNT is not competitive with the state, we can reach back out and ask for clarification on certain activities if we're not aware, because our SME is mostly in grants, but I have learned over the years many things on responders because that's who we hand it out to. So if there just happens to be an activity that we're not familiar with, we'll reach back out and ask for, more information so that we can understand if it ties in.
Can you give an example of those activities? Like something that you're like, I'm not sure if this lands within our wheelhouse, but then going back later and getting clarification?
Yeah. Just had one, swift water rescue.
It's a popular topic.
Yeah, it is. It is. Just had one come in from Texas. So, we reached back out and tried to understand the correlation, like Bill said, we're not trying to say no, but we need to understand how it connects with hazmat transportation. And the way they described it, is even though it may be a natural incident, unfortunately, like the hurricane that just passed, because it causes so much damage, usually there is a release of hazmat. So, and they have to go and rescue these people who are, can't get out on their own. Once he explained it that way, we approved the activity. Like Bill said, as long as it has that component of hazmat and transportation, we will, we do our best to approve those. So that's the type of activity that we just recently had that we had never really had before in the past that we had to research. So
yeah, and one thing I'll add to that, Bobby and Mike, is that if the training is any way related to NFPA 472 and what's going to become the new NFPA 470 series, if it's related to those competencies, it's probably going to be approved. So
yeah.
So does when you say that, can a department or an organization come in and apply for funding through you all to bring up original technician courses? Like, I'm going to actually create technicians with this, or is most of the funding for post technician classes where you're looking for more specific training on that transportation? And does it cover things like operations level besides technician?
So for the first part of your question, it's a yes for both. It's not only for refresh training, it's training new people coming in that want to train to that level of technician. It's also the recurrent trainings that are need to keep the responders, fresh on several different types of incidents. So that's a yes to both of those. As far as a locality coming in straight to us for LEPC or a county emergency management, they cannot apply directly to us. However, they can go to the designated agency, and then the designated agency can subgrant to them.
That's my question. Is one of the biggest questions we get is, I'm a small volunteer fire department from enter any state here. I can't connect to this money, but the big departments like FDNY and Houston, they can. But the thing is like, and if I'm tracking this right, that small volunteer fire department has to go to their LEPC. They have to go to the SCRC, and that's how you track the money to you. Everybody just can't ask for the money. You have to go to the right path.
Yeah. And we actually have a group of community liaisons that can help departments connect to the funds. That's one of the problems we have is so Carla's team does a great job of getting money to the states. The states have to distribute the money. Right. Sometimes they give it out to LEPCs or to county emergency management groups, and then the county emergency management groups have a different view on how they want to use that money. They want to fund just hazmat teams or operational teams. They don't want to fund awareness training or So sometimes we can work with the states and the counties to connect them with that money.
I got one quick follow-up. Let's say you shovel all the money to the SCRC, right? Once you give it to, let's say, Virginia, right? Are you guys hands off? Like what they do from there on?
No.
Oh, good. All right. So there is a little bit of a receipts.
Yeah. Yeah. Carla's team actually, just like the fire service, I think we have all these groups that talk in acronyms, and Carla used the term SME before, but that's really the grant specialists. So she has a team of grant specialists that actually work with the state over that 3-year period to see how the money's spent, because the states give us a plan, and Carla's team makes sure that they follow the plan and helps them adjust the plan as they need to spend the money. So Carla, I'll let you talk a little bit more about that, but you can talk about how you work with the states to make sure that people get the money that's spent.
Yeah. So once we awarded what we call post-award monitoring, we do. So part of us making sure that they're spending the money appropriately, we have various tools that we use. My grant specialists are assigned a portfolio of grantees that they're responsible for overseeing for that grant cycle. And they are required to do quarterly, what I call quarterly check-ins with the grantee. One, to make sure everything's going all right, to see if there are any challenges that maybe we can assist them with, or connect them with the right people, especially if they're looking for certain training. We may connect them with another grantee that does something really well that they are looking to build. We also do desk reviews and site visits, and that's on a scale of making sure they're compliant with the grants regulations on 2 CFR 200s, and also following our guidelines that we put in place specifically for the grant program. We also go and do on site visits. We'll visit if we have the chance. We try to schedule it around the activity that maybe a subrecipient is doing, or, the grantee themselves are doing, to kind of see what's going on, tie
it's
it
a
all
flim
together.
flam shop.
Yeah, making sure that, the training that they're giving to responders, or that responders are receiving is a valid training. We have a emergency response liaison, Eddie Murphy, that we send out. He's probably never in the office too much. We send him out all over to go to these trainings. His background is emergency response. He's been a firefighter. So, he knows what he's looking at and what he's hearing, and, kind of relate to us whether that is something that, they're doing it and it does fall under our program. So we're good. We use him a lot to understate, on the response side, things that they need, type of trainings that, what they need to conduct those trainings as far as PPE, because we do allow them, to purchase supplies for training. But the deal of it is because it's only a training and planning grant, that money can't be used for operation.
Gotcha.
And
Right.
sometime what Bill just said is the partners we work with, FEMA, DHS, they kind of feel those gaps, and we teach our grantees to leverage their funding. So leveraging their funding, if they want to use purchase an equipment, but they want to use it as training, and they also want to put it in operational, we kind of teach them to leverage that funding. We'll purchase, you can use 50% of the HMEP funds to purchase it, and then maybe leverage one of your other grants that allows operational costs to cover the other half. That way, it can be used in both, and they're not using up all of one grant for that. And they're splitting the costs.
I wish there were, so obviously we're a private entity. We're not a not-for-profit, so we don't land in the ability to grab that. But we do a tremendous amount of after-action reports on the drills and the trainings that we do, and then we submit those after-action reports to the AHJ who hired us to come in. I would love to have a spot where I could get educated to be able to add that grant information right into an after action report. That way I could hand it to a department, and they, if I say, hey, you guys are short on equipment X, Y, and Z, and here's the grant that you could go to try to apply to get that equipment, that would be a tremendous help. Does anything like that exist in the ether?
So we have a great website, and we have a great pamphlet that has the grant information. We can certainly provide that. I think that's a great thing. I will say one of the things that we didn't have a chance to touch on yet was that that grant money goes out, and states and localities can use that grant and use that money to spend however they want. We don't dictate who they use to train it. So it doesn't have to go to a state training program. It can go to contractors to provide that service.
Absolutely.
We want people to be able to get that service wherever they can get it from the experts.
Well, and we're going to put, for those that are listening, and I know there's going to be a lot of listening right to the end for this one, because interesting topic, and that's why we wanted you guys on, is that I'm hoping we can attach that pamphlet, those contact information, and I'm going to ask you the question that I think you're going to regret, because when I say, hey, how do you get in touch with these guys, the floodgates are going to open and you guys are going to get inundated. So where do they find out more information?
I got one more question. Can I sneak in one more question? One more question.
Go.
Okay. So I'm sorry. So you all have been around obviously quite some time. Could you give me 3 common misconceptions that people have about either your organization or the funding or the grant process that you would like to get out and clear up that common misconception like today?
So I'll put out 2 of those, and maybe Carla can add another one. But the first one is that there's a common misconception that the grant dollars we give out are only for hazmat teams. And the reality is we want every responder who may be called to respond to be able to get those dollars, because getting that money out and making sure we train responders, you never know when you're going to be called to one of these. An incident occurs, it happens on any highway in the U.S. or on any rail line. And more often than not, it happens in rural areas where there's a volunteer that may not be a hazmat team, but is asked to protect their community just the same. And so we want to make sure they get that training. And the second one is there's I think it's sometimes a common belief that we don't like doing that we don't want the drills to be done with everybody. We want LEPCs to get everybody involved in training and drills, and trying to connect people. That's one of the biggest problems we have, is making sure that the county commissioners or judges or whoever the town managers, that they're involved in these drills as well. It's not just for responders; it's for the whole community. So, Carla, you may have a couple other things that you want to mention.
With our grant programs specifically, one of the misconceptions is a lot of people consider pipeline a part of our transportation. It is not, for our grant, considered a mode of transportation for our grant.
Oh.
So if they wanted to do a pipeline emergency response training, they would need to apply in our Office of Pipeline Safety side. They would apply for the PERG grant, which is a pipeline emergency response grant for the states and the states, tribes, and territories. And with that one, localities can apply directly. So it's not a designated agency. So that is the biggest misconception.
I will say I'm going to guarantee this will not be the last time we have you two on the show, because the questions are going to come in and we're going to have to bring you back on and just have like a mailbag clearing thing going on with you guys. But I got to say, it has been an honor to have you guys on. This is definitely not the last time, as long as you guys will come back. Where do they find you guys? And we're going to add all this to the show notes and to the links and stuff. But where do they find you guys now?
So, Carla, you want to give them your website and your...
Yes. So it's the PHMSA.gov website, which carries all of PHMSA's. But you go to the home site, you click on safety, there's a drop down box. The first one that comes up is grants. you go to that page, and I'm going to say it's not just our rates on there. So definitely go. There are pipeline grants on there that I know a lot of people will be interested in as well. I just can't speak to them in specific because I'm not on that side of the house and I don't know all, the criterias. But the criterias are there for ours as well as them of what the grants, who's eligible to apply. The type of activities. We also have a HMEP guide, which lists all the activities that we commonly see that we approve. It is not just held to that list. Like I said, we're always encouraging our grantees to branch out, find other activities that they want to do, other trainings as emerging trends come up, such as lithium batteries. That has now been incorporated into our, list of allowable trainings. I would encourage everybody to go there. We have our phone number, but I will also say you can email us at hmep.grants. I'm sorry, let me say it right. hmep.grants with an S at dlt.gov. So you can email us. It is a email that all of our grant specialists have access to, me as well. I will also put me out there and saying they can email me, which is my name, Carla.Sheppard, and Sheppard is spelled SHEPPARD at DLT.gov. You can also call our general line. If you have, you want to speak to someone, that is 202-366-1109. And our administrative person will answer that and redirect it to the appropriate person. So I'm not going to say I answer all the questions. If it's a nonprofit, I will send them over to my grant specialist, Benita Brown, who handles all nonprofit grants, and she has been with the program a very long time. We have been lucky enough to add in recently 2 grant specialists, so I'm really excited. And they'll be working with the states, tribes, and territories, and they are very excited to come in. So we have a developed team who has that knowledge set up. Like I said, I don't put it all on myself. I tell my team, I'm just a facilitator. You guys are doing all the work. So,
yeah. So I just want to be clear. It's PHMSA at DOT.gov. So I don't want people looking at Federal Motor Carrier Safety and getting upset, frustrated, saying, you guys gave us the wrong information. So,
they give you a ring. Thanks. Our website visits are through the roof now.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
You know what? I think the floodgates are going to be open. I'm sure this is not the last time we're going to talk to you guys, but I would love... This is good. And I think this is going to bring a lot of understanding to the community and hopefully move the ball forward. So thank you guys.
Yeah, Bobby, Mike, thanks for having us. We appreciate the chance. So
yes.
Looking forward to it again.